twin sisters share identical appearances, yet lead vastly different destinies. To rescue her elder sister from life's predicaments, the younger sister makes an extraordinarily daring and risky decision. 30 years ago, twin sisters were born. They look so alike even their biological mother can't tell them apart. However, their personalities and talents are complete opposites. Elder sister Yumi Rei is frail, quiet, and academically gifted. Younger sister Yu Miji is a troublemaker, with exceptional strength and speed. During childhood, the sisters devised a scheme. Whenever facing challenges beyond their individual capabilities, they would impersonate each other. Yumi Rei would take math tests for her sister, while Yumi Ji would complete physical education assessments for Yumi Rei. Their secret exchange was exposed during a blood test. To prevent further deception, their mother gave Yumi Ji a short haircut. This hairstyle change marked the divergence of their life paths. The academically superior Yumi Rei entered prestigious Seoul universities, was recruited by major corporations, and became a white-collar professional in the capital. Yumi Ji leveraged her athletic talents to win numerous competitions, but suffered a career-ending fall during a crucial race, forcing her retirement from track and field. After abandoning her only talent in sports, 30-year-old Yumi Ji idles away in her hometown. Through a townsfolk's recommendation, she works as an elementary school janitor, finding unexpected joy in daily cleaning routines. The janitor position is temporary. After work, Yumi Ji takes various jobs at local supermarkets, vegetable stocking, cashier duties, embracing every opportunity. She revels in the freedom of daily wage labor. Her mother disapproves, constantly comparing the good-for-nothing Yumi Ji to her accomplished sister. One evening, mother instructs Yumi Ji to deliver pancakes to a neighbor. This aunt has a successful lawyer's son, the same age as the twins. The neighbor persistently tries to matchmake her son with Yumi Rei. Hearing the neighbor's son, Lee Ho-soo, is returning tonight, Yumi Ji hastily attempts to leave. As she opens the door, she collides with Lee Ho-soo. Noticing Lee Ho-soo's pink necktie, Yumi Ji curiously inquires. Lee Ho-soo explains, "This is what Yumi Ji likes." Not long ago, Lee Ho-soo's mother asked Yumi Ji to help select a necktie for her son's blind date. Yumi Ji mischievously chose an overly flashy one. Recalling this now, Yumi Ji struggles to suppress laughter. Lee Ho-soo doesn't inquire about Yumi Ji's life, but instead probes for information about her sister Yumi Rei. Yumi Ji's displeasure shows plainly. Since their first meeting, the boy has always been this infuriating. During school years, when Lee Ho-soo's family moved across from the twins, he became Yumi Ji's classmate. Yumi Ji repeatedly extended kindness, initiating conversations. Lee Ho-soo remained perpetually aloof. Even now, the memory fuels Yumi Ji's irritation. Rumors once circulated among classmates that Lee Ho-soo and Yumi Rei were dating. Both were top-ranking honor students, considered the perfect match by outsiders. As Yumi Ji stews in frustration, her mother urges her to contact the long-absent sister. Yumi Ji flops on the bed in defiance, complaining that mother and Lee Ho-soo only care about Yumi Rei. Local strawberry farm owner Han Se-jin is hiring. Lured by high wages, Yumi Ji submits her resume. Han Se-jin frowns at the document, barely a couple of scribbled lines, appearing utterly insincere. A townsfolk explains, Yumi Ji chose farm work to care for her ailing grandmother. 10 years ago, when grandma suffered a stroke, Yumi Ji rejected town office jobs to personally nurse her relative. Throughout Yumi Rei's corporate climb in Seoul, Yumi Ji single-handedly tended to grandma, bathing her frail body, entertaining her with humorous stories. Today, Yumi Ji again contacts her sister to report grandma's worsening condition. Impatience laces Yumi Rei's words, assuming the call is another request for money. Yumi Ji criticizes her sister's rare visits. Yumi Rei shows no remorse, coldly stating, "Your current life stems from your own choices." That evening at home, Yumi Ji complains about her sister to mother. Mother defends her eldest daughter. Grandma's medical bills, and even the family's monthly allowances, are entirely funded by Yumi Rei. Mother prepared some food, and told Yumiji to personally deliver it to her sister in Seoul tomorrow. Yumiji frantically refused, shouting before storming out of the house in defiance. At the doorway, Lee Ho-soo arrived with a fruit platter. Yumiji petulantly ran past him, retreating to a corner to kick a deflated soccer ball, while brooding over her life circumstances and constant comparisons with her sister. Lee Ho-soo approached again to ask about Yumi-rae. Annoyed, Yumiji waved her hand dismissively, accidentally striking Lee Ho-soo's ear. This wasn't her first careless incident. He had clutched her wrist tightly while gasping in pain, their proximity briefly charged with tension. When Lee Ho-soo abruptly released her and fled, Yumiji chased him after school to apologize, but he ignored her. Mid-conversation, Lee Ho-soo suddenly stumbled. Yumiji noticed his leg appeared stiff. With visible scarring, Lee Ho-soo grew angry, believing she mocked his disability, and spat harsh words. That night, Yumiji learned from her sister. Lee Ho-soo survived a car accident, causing burn injuries and hearing damage, with one leg containing an artificial bone. Horrified, Yumiji realized why he'd misunderstood. Previously oblivious, she'd jokingly speculated that Lee Ho-soo ignored her due to deafness. Tonight, after accidentally hitting his ear, Yumiji bought him a cold juice pack for the injury. Lee Ho-soo remarked, "You haven't changed at all," finally asking about her life. Yumiji deflected, saying, "Same as always," then steered the talk to Yumi-rae. Lee Ho-soo revealed he'd encountered Yumi-rae in Seoul, but she fled upon seeing him, appearing deeply strained. He urged Yumiji to call her sister. Yumiji sighed. As adults, the twins now lead separate lives, no longer sharing their childhood bond. Lee Ho-soo recounts past memories. He once heard from the twins' grandmother that when Yumi-rae was hospitalized as a child, her greatest wish was for her sister to visit. Only with Yumiji would Yumi-rae reveal her inner vulnerabilities. Lee Ho-soo believes even as adults, certain bonds etched into their lives remain unbroken. Contemplating his words, while gazing at their birth photo framed in the mirror, Yumiji hesitantly makes her decision to follow mother's request and personally deliver the food to her sister in Seoul. The next day in Seoul, Yumiji arrives at her sister's office building with the meal. Yumi-rae appears fearful, hurriedly dragging her sister to a dessert cafe. Yumiji notices Yumi-rae's nervous demeanor and desperate anticipation for clock-out time. To escape overwhelming workloads, Yumi-rae contemplates throwing herself from suitable height, an injury justifying extended absence from work. Recognizing her sister's instability, Yumiji urges her to take annual leave. "For your own life and our hardworking mother, you can't collapse like this." Yumi-rae responds wistfully, confessing envy towards her sister's carefree existence. When Yumiji returns from the restroom, Yumi-rae has already paid and vanished. At the office, staff inform Yumiji her sister is absent without leave. Remembering the earlier falling remarks, Yumiji realizes the crisis and sprints towards Yumi-rae's apartment. Inside the apartment, Yumi-rae executes her plan, throwing a blanket downstairs, then climbing to the third floor. As Yumiji arrives and grabs her falling sister, both accidentally plummet together. The low height and cushioning blanket spare them serious injury. Facing her shattered sister, Yumiji weeps like a child. "If you disappeared, I wouldn't know how to keep living." Yumi-rae tearfully embraces her, apologizing while confessing the breaking point that drove her despair. When Yumi-rae first joined the company, she met a principled, kind-hearted senior colleague who consistently supported her. Yet this mentor's integrity and compassion indirectly caused Yumi-rae to endure workplace bullying. Unable to remain silent, Yumi-rae joined her mentor in reporting a superior's misconduct. Before the investigation concluded, the mentor resigned abruptly. Yumi-rae soon faced identical persecution, ostracized and suppressed by co-workers. Hearing this, Yumiji burned with anger, frustrated that her sister now faced impossible choices, neither resigning, with no backup, nor transferring. Before Yumiji, Yumi-rae exposed her vulnerabilities like in childhood, admitting utter helplessness. That night at the bus station, watching her sister's lonely, wounded figure retreat, Yumi Ji's heart ached. To protect her sister, she charged off the bus and sprinted to Yumi Rei, demanding, "Stop enduring this alone. From now on, I'll face your battles, Vosant and Entemund. You live freely in my stead." The twin sisters decided to switch lives and impersonate each other. Unexpectedly, this process led to various comedic mishaps. Yesterday, the sisters resolved to exchange identities. Yumi Ji would replace her older sister at a major corporation in Seoul, while Yumi Rei would substitute for her younger sister doing daily wage work in their hometown. For this perfect identity swap, the sisters meticulously prepared. First, they altered their hairstyles. Yumi Ji added hair extensions while Yumi Rei cut her hair short. They documented detailed instructions for each other, particularly elder sister Yumi Rei, who comprehensively listed all corporate affairs for her sibling. As the elder sister boarded the hometown-bound bus, their life swap officially commenced. In Seoul, Yumi Ji faced her first team meeting as the imposter Yumi Rei. Ignoring instructions, she casually occupied the wrong seat at the conference table and grabbed coffee meant for others. Colleagues stared curiously, while a senior employee deliberately challenged her to comment on the agenda. Though clearly intended as sarcasm, Yumi Ji earnestly consulted her notebook for answers. Post-meeting colleagues mocked Yumi Rei's literal interpretation, but she remained oblivious, idling at her workstation, organizing digital folders into heart shapes, folding paper cranes, and counting down till departure time. Each evening, she proudly messaged her sister, claiming the job was too easy. Meanwhile, in their hometown, Yumi Rei navigated her sister's life. Though initially fearing maternal detection, their striking resemblance fooled even their mother, who praised the younger daughter's new black hair. Unlike her careless sibling, Yumi Rei cautiously prepared for strawberry farm work to avoid exposure. The farm being 3 kilometers from home, Yumi Rei had to ride her sister's bicycle. Her unsteady cycling made villagers suspect she was drunk. At the farm, Yumi Rei met owner Han Se-jin, who planned to experiment with organic farming starting month-end. For the preceding week, Han allowed Yumi Rei to work freely with flexible hours, the most casual employer she'd ever encountered. Throughout the week, Yumi Rei tried working, but Han Se-jin gave no instructions, preferring to read comics, chop firewood, roast sweet potatoes, or fish by the river. Though Han paid 200,000 KRW daily regardless of workload, Yumi Rei remained perplexed about her responsibilities. Meanwhile in Seoul, trouble brewed. Observing Yumi Rei's idleness, superiors assigned field work. Eager for distraction, Yumi Ji immediately accepted a property acquisition task. Following instructions, she visited a restaurant targeted for land purchase. Confident in handling elderly people, Yumi Ji's assurance shattered upon witnessing the proprietress sternly eject a drinking customer. A patron warned Yumi Ji. The granny prohibited solo dining, alcohol consumption, and only served chicken giblet stew. Though finding the stew delicious, when Yumi Ji introduced herself and mentioned land purchase, the grandmother shoved her outside before she finished speaking, scattering salt over her. The granny refused to sell and forbade return visits. Frustrated, Yumi Ji researched dealing with resistant property owners that night. Despite repeated attempts, every subsequent visit ended with forceful expulsion. Tormented, Yumi Ji deeply regretted accepting this cursed assignment. In their hometown, older sister Yumi Rei also found herself idle. With nothing to do, she cleaned the farm warehouse and casually discarded a broken chair by the entrance. Unexpectedly, this earned Han Se-jin's scolding. Han explained his reason for hiring her. He believed applicants like Yumi Ji, who submitted blank resumes, were either insincere or fearless, and had deliberately assigned no work to test which category she fell into. Yumi Rei angrily countered that Han Se-jin's test was merely torment, criticizing his capricious judgment while leaving her stranded. Han Se-jin was left speechless. Meanwhile in Seoul, Yumi Ji encountered Lee Hosu on the streets. Mistaking her for the older sister, Lee mentioned Yumi Rei's earlier internal whistleblowing case at the company, how she had reported a superior's misconduct to protect a kind colleague, only to retract the complaint before formal review. Lee Hosu urged Yumi Rei not to avoid it, proposing a weekend meeting. This alarmed the real Yumi Rei when informed. Recalling their school days when Lee Ho-soo had instantly identified Yu Mi-ji despite both sisters wearing towels after hair washing, the older sister forbade the meeting to avoid exposure. However, moved by Lee Ho-soo's words about not running away and considering her sister's difficult position, Yu Mi-ji secretly agreed to the meeting against Yu Mi-rae's orders. The meeting was arranged at a trendy internet-famous restaurant, but Yu Mi-ji found it too noisy. Considering Lee Ho-soo's hearing condition, she pulled him out to the Han River. Seeing the Han River for the first time, Yu Mi-ji excitedly filmed a selfie video, then dragged Lee Ho-soo to eat self-service instant noodles by the riverside, a small dream she'd harbored since school days. While eating noodles, Lee Ho-soo asked if Yu Mi-rae had withdrawn the whistleblowing case because of him. As the case's assigned lawyer, Lee Ho-soo needed to conduct external investigations per procedure. He worried Yu Mi-rae retracted the complaint to avoid embarrassment before an old classmate, urging her not to feel burdened and promising full support. Remembering her sister's warning not to interfere, Yu Mi-ji lied that withdrawing was personal and unrelated to Lee Ho-soo. Instead, Yu Mi-ji expressed concern for Lee Ho-soo, knowing he bottled up emotions. She recalled school days when he'd stay doing error notes with her despite scoring perfect marks, unsure if he stayed for the studies or for her. In their hometown, a supermarket friend mistook Yu Mi-rae for Yu Mi-ji, calling her Sweetheart Yu. This nickname from villagers referenced an animated character, a lonely, sad girl. Everyone sensed Yu Mi-ji's hidden sorrow beneath her cheerful surface. During their nightly call, Yu Mi-rae mentioned the nickname, but Yu Mi-ji pretended nonchalance, falsely claiming everything was fine in Seoul. Scolded by superiors for unfinished tasks, Yu Mi-ji revisited the stubborn grandmother. Venting her grievances, she argued they were both just doing their jobs. Why such harshness? Though salt was thrown again, Yu Mi-ji felt cathartic after speaking out. Lee Ho-soo messaged to thank Yu Mi-rae, saying her words yesterday gave him courage to reject handling a lawsuit, protecting shady businessmen for his senior, despite angering the mentor. Suddenly, the restaurant grandmother called, inviting Yu Mi-ji to discuss business properly tomorrow. Overjoyed, Yu Mi-ji immediately dragged Lee Ho-soo to see the rainbow fountain. Watching her exuberance, Lee Ho-soo began sensing something.
또 유미지 씨.
A woman attends a class reunion. Former close classmates are now boasting about themselves. They make sarcastic remarks at the woman. They then force the male companion to choose. The choice is to ride back in her newly bought car, or take the subway with the woman. During her day, substituting for her sister in Seoul, Lee Ho-soo, seeing this, blurts out. He suspects this isn't Yu Mi-rae but her sister Yu Mi-ji. Yu Mi-ji freezes for a moment, then firmly denies it. She tells Lee Ho-soo not to pretend he knows her well. Lee Ho-soo believes her. Yu Mi-ji feels a pang of sadness inside. She sees the door to Lee Ho-soo's heart, which had just opened, had quietly closed again. In Yu Mi-ji's memory, ever since she was little, she always felt she couldn't seem to enter others' hearts. As a child, her mother's world only contained her brilliant sister. During her school years, Yu Mi-ji met Lee Ho-soo and became his deskmate. She gradually fell for this boy who would laugh heartily, a boy who would hide and cry. Yet her joy was short-lived. Soon she heard the news that Lee Ho-soo was dating her sister. Just before her college entrance exams, Yu Mi-ji competed in the most important track meet of her life. Mid-race, she saw Lee Ho-soo and her sister embracing in a corner. Yu Mi-ji always felt her sister was the favorite, while she herself seemed perpetually unnoticed. Now in Seoul, Yu Mi-ji, pretending to be her sister, arrives at a restaurant for a meeting. However, shortly after the meeting begins, the grandmother rejects the company proposal she brought, explaining she has no intention of selling her land, saying she invited her only to show the respect Yu Mi-ji desired. Back in their hometown, Yu Mi-rae is doing the work at the strawberry farm instead of her sister. Han Se-jin is selecting strawberry seedlings for the farm. Han Se-jin doesn't understand seedlings. Yu Mi-rae personally instructs him on choosing suitable seedlings. Han Se-jin steps into the muddy field, wearing leather shoes. He notices Yu Mi-rae, experienced, had already put on rubber boots. After finishing the first day's work, Han Se-jin drives Yu Mi-rae home. But he just got his driver's license and drives unsteadily. He nearly caused the car to slide downhill. Yu Mi-rae promptly pulled the handbrake and took over driving. Han Se-jin was surprised. Yu Mi-rae cannot ride a bicycle, but drives very skillfully. Tomorrow, Yu Mi-rae must care for her grandmother in the hospital. She decides to start working formally with Han Se-jin the day after tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, Yu Mi-rae fulfills her promise and arrives at the farm. In front of Yu Mi-rae, Han Se-jin unintentionally reveals his thoughts. The old chair covered in tape. The manual transmission truck. This remote strawberry farm. All were actually left by his grandfather. When his grandfather was alive, Han Se-jin only saw these as junk. Now that his loved one is gone, Han Se-jin has gradually learned to cherish through loss. After telling the story, Han Se-jin apologizes to Yu Mi-rae for his previous thoughtless words, and thanks her for choosing to return to the farm. Looking at the new rubber boots on Han Se-jin's feet, Yu Mi-rae smiles faintly. She had always been weak and clumsy. It seemed no one ever took her thoughts seriously, except Han Se-jin. In Seoul, to persuade the restaurant grandmother to sign the land sale contract, Yu Mi-ji follows the grandmother. She plans to understand the elderly woman's preferences. Seeing the grandmother attend a poetry recital at the cultural center, listening to melancholic poems, Yu Mi-ji becomes emotionally affected. She recalls her own sadness after failing the track competition. Unexpectedly, she gets discovered by the grandmother due to a misstep. Worried the grandmother might sue her for stalking, Yu Mi-ji contacts lawyer Lee Ho-soo. Lee Ho-soo says it's not a big problem. He then searches for the grandmother's information online, discovering she was actually his school alumna and a somewhat famous poet. Lee Ho-soo himself had once received a scholarship established in the grandmother's name. Hearing this, Yu Mi-ji got another idea. She asked Lee Ho-soo to visit the grandmother with her as a thank you for her past support. Lee Ho-soo repeatedly refused, unwilling to help Yu Mi-rae with company matters. Instead, he told her to go find Yu Mi-ji. He believes Yu Mi-ji is good at opening people's hearts. Yu Mi-ji felt even sadder. In her view, people are only briefly attracted by her momentary brightness. The next day, Yu Mi-ji brought a conch to the restaurant wanting to gift it to the grandmother. She praised the old woman for having both talent and kindness. Hearing that Yu Mi-ji's friend received her scholarship, the grandmother was disappointed instead. None of the children she sponsored over the years ever came back to see her. Hearing the grandmother complain on the phone about the cleaning company's delay, Yu Mi-ji quickly comes up with another idea. She volunteers to clean upstairs and downstairs for the grandmother. Seeing this, the grandmother was not pleased and scolded Yu Mi-ji for causing trouble. She told Yu Mi-ji not to come again in the future. She detests that unscrupulous company. Watching the grandmother's retreating figure, Yu Mi-ji's slightly hopeful heart felt let down again. Painful memories from the past flooded her mind. Being neglected by her mother, being cast aside by Ho, stubbornly removing the cast before her injury healed. Yet because of this, she suffered a lifelong weakness. She could never do track and field again. While feeling sad alone on the bus, Yu Mi-ji received a call from Lee Ho-soo asking her out for drinks. Upon arriving, Yu Mi-ji discovered their high school classmate was also there. This classmate was once close with Yu Mi-ji but later abandoned her. Now, in front of Yu Mi-ji, the classmate, as usual, deliberately or unintentionally belittled others, bragging about her own job. When the gathering ended, the female classmate made excuses, only willing to give Lee Ho-soo a ride, but unwilling to give Yu Mi-ji, who was going the same way, a lift. Yu Mi-ji gave the choice to Lee Ho-soo. Unexpectedly, Lee Ho-soo chose neither option. The female classmate had no choice but to give Yu Mi-ji a ride too. The next day, seeing Yu Mi-ji's lack of progress in work, her superior demanded she bring the grandmother to the company for formal talks next week. Yu Mi-ji felt troubled. She didn't know how to persuade the grandmother. Yu Mi-ji found the grandmother and mentioned the company-assigned task. She had prepared herself for the old woman's refusal. Unexpectedly, this time the grandmother readily agreed. Yu Mi-ji repeatedly expressed gratitude to the grandmother. She began to feel curious. She couldn't understand why the stubborn old woman had changed her attitude so drastically. That night, Yu Mi-ji returned to the grandmother's restaurant. She witnessed the old woman warmly serving Ho. Lee Ho-soo verbally refused but secretly worked hard to help Yu Mi-ji. He brought a gift to thank the grandmother for her past scholarship. As the night deepened, Inside the grandmother's shop, Lee Ho-soo confessed to Yumi-ji. He had just resigned because he wanted to do what he loved. He wanted to help Yumi-ji from a position of freedom. Yumi-ji didn't know. Lee Ho-soo had stayed awake all last night. His mind was filled with Yumi-rae smiling at him. Lee Ho-soo had long been drawn to Yumi-ji. In the past, before Yumi-ji even left home, Lee Ho-soo would deliberately wait behind the door, just to walk to school with the girl he liked. To Lee Ho-soo, Yumi-ji's joys and sorrows always touched his heartstrings. After this period, the grandmother's attitude toward Yumi-ji greatly improved. She gave her tasty chicken gizzards, told her to bring chicken soup to Lee Ho-soo. Yumi-ji took the soup to Lee Ho-soo's home and found him looking dejected. It turned out, Lee Ho-soo anxiously sought a new job right after resigning, but he scarcely received any responses. Before Yumi-ji arrived, Lee Ho-soo had been lost in anxious thoughts. He had few hobbies or interests. He didn't know what to do when idle. To help Lee Ho-soo peacefully endure this gap period, Yumi-ji took him to a small store to buy yarn and knitting needles. She personally taught Lee Ho-soo to knit a nice dishwashing brush. The feeling of crocheting is like meditation for the hands. Yumi-ji hoped Ho could overcome anxiety through this. She believed if he just kept stitching loop by loop, his life would surely take a positive turn. Lee Ho-soo gazed at the girl beside him who seemed different from usual. He didn't understand why Yumi-rae was being so nice to him. Yumi-ji avoided the topic and deflected as usual, telling Lee Ho-soo to focus on his knitting. Today, Yumi-ji was supposed to help the grandmother choose a refrigerator, but she couldn't come due to unforeseen matters. Lee Ho-soo volunteered to accompany the grandmother shopping instead. The grandmother grew fonder of Lee Ho-soo. She decided to make him her legal representative. For all future negotiations with Yumi-ji's company, Lee Ho-soo would handle the legal affairs. Lee Ho-soo received a call from the female classmate. Previously when they met, though the female classmate had made veiled sarcastic remarks about Yumi-rae, she couldn't forget Lee Ho-soo. She invited him to a weekend class reunion but didn't notify Yumi-rae. Among classmates, rumors spread that due to failing the civil service exam years ago, the already introverted Yumi-rae became socially anxious. Yumi-ji snatched the phone away. Without discussion, she declared in Yumi-rae's identity that she would definitely attend the gathering. She refused to let her sister be gossiped about behind her back. The weekend class reunion arrived. During the gathering, classmates discussed their current situations. Some had married and had children. Some were barely getting by. What they shared was all mentioning Yumi-ji. Previously, Yumi-ji did track and field. Classmates thought she would become a sports star like Yumi-rae, would be the most successful among them. But now hearing Yumi-ji worked as a cleaner in her hometown, the classmates changed their tone, mocking her utterly ruined life. The surrounding cold ridicule made Yumi-ji feel as if sitting on pins and needles. When the gathering ended, a male classmate asked Yumi-rae for her contact information, seemingly wanting to pursue her. Seeing Yumi-rae agree to attend a classmate's wedding with the guy, Lee Ho-soo beside her looked displeased. A classmate sent Lee Ho-soo reunion photos. Lee Ho-soo opened one showing Yumi-rae with the male classmate. Tonight, the guy deliberately approached Yumi-rae, constantly being nice to her. Thinking of these scenes, Lee Ho-soo recalled his former colleague's words and couldn't help worrying. He might have fallen for Yumi-rae. Back in their hometown village, every week, Yumi-rae would care for their grandmother at the hospital. A caregiver wondered why she still hadn't cut the grandmother's hair. Previously, Yumi-ji had always managed the grandmother's hair. The caregiver praised Yumi-ji's filial devotion, while commenting about the older sister Yumi-rae, believing she only sent living expenses home, and shirked all other responsibilities. Hearing this, Yumi-rae felt uncomfortable. That same day, their mother learned Yumi-rae hadn't paid this month's hospitalization fees for the grandmother. Worried about her older daughter's finances, Yumi-rae remembered the payment, saying she would handle it this time. But her mother said sharply that the younger daughter had little money, flatly stating she wasn't like her sister. Yumi-rae thought resentfully, just because she seemed glamorous in soul, her mother assumed she should support the family. For the grandmother's hospitalization fees, Yumi-rae contacted her sister, telling Yu Miji to send some of this month's salary home and incidentally visit the grandmother in a few days. Yu Miji wanted to choose another time, as she had a meeting that day about the land sale between the grandmother and the company. The older sister got angry, scolding Yu Miji for prioritizing work over their grandmother. Yu Miji was equally annoyed. Was it so hard for her sister to temporarily take her place in caring for their grandmother? The sisters erupted into argument over the phone. At that moment, both felt they were the wronged party. The next day, Han Se-jin brought over a stack of express boxes. He instructed Yumi-rae to send some strawberries to her twin sister in Seoul. Staring at the blank express form, Yumi-rae hesitated. The auntie across the way came over and invited Yumi-rae to make strawberry jam together. During the process, she shared life lessons. Life is like strawberries. After tasting sweet ones, you can't adapt to sour ones. But who says a sour life is necessarily bad? Just like sour berries make excellent jam, every stage of life has its unique meaning and place. Inspired by the auntie's words, the girl finally filled out the express form. The recipient was Yumi-rae. This jar of jam made from sour strawberries, rather than being sent to her sister impersonating her, was Yumi-rae's gift to herself. In Seoul, the day arrived for the grandmother's meeting at the company. But on this day, the grandmother's phone was unreachable. Yu Miji rushed to the restaurant and found her lying on the floor due to a fall. Witnessing the scene, Yu Miji's breath suddenly quickened as if touching a deep-seated shadow. Fortunately, Lee Ho-soo arrived promptly. He helped Yu Miji recover her breathing and took the grandmother to the hospital. The grandmother's fall stirred Yu Miji's buried past. After quitting track and field, Yu Miji became utterly despondent. She locked herself at home daily, hiding in her room. No socializing, no sunlight, for a full 3 years. Unable to stand it any longer, the mother pried open the door. She forcibly demanded Yu Miji pull herself together. Yu Miji blamed her mother, venting years of resentment in one breath. Before she did track and field, her mother only had eyes for her older sister. The mother lost her temper and struck Yu Miji. It was the grandmother who pulled the mother away then. Before her grandmother, Yu Miji's tears finally overflowed. She felt lost and hated herself. The grandmother's heart ached for Yu Miji. Unconcerned by her granddaughter's disheveled state, she encouraged her. As long as it's for survival, anything done out of love is an act of bravery. Comforted by the grandmother, Yu Miji gradually regained her spirits. But that day, the grandmother suddenly suffered a stroke and collapsed unconscious. Yu Miji completely panicked. In the heavy rain, she ran outside and went door to door begging neighbors for help. Much time has passed, yet Yu Miji always carried guilt about the past. Had she not panicked back then? Had her calmer sister handled it? Their grandmother wouldn't have missed the best treatment window. Hearing Yu Miji express her guilt, Lee Ho-soo spoke from experience. Due to his childhood mischief, his father had a car accident. Yu Miji knew well it wasn't Lee Ho-soo's fault. Lee Ho-soo also said, the grandmother's situation couldn't be blamed on Yu Miji either. Under Lee Ho-soo's steadfast, gentle gaze, the scars in Yu Miji's heart were healing. On the rooftop, Yu Miji asked why Lee Ho-soo always defended Yu Miji. Lee Ho-soo answered, because I like her.